What's going down, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Holmes Hobbies Motor Control. It's your boy Josh, aka Coleman. Today we're going back to the bench to work on the XJ. I almost have a name for it. I got a couple ideas, but we'll get into that in another episode. Also working on colors. We'll get into that in another episode too. But today we're gonna do an update. I'm gonna show you the progress I've made so far. Turns out wiring this thing up was a lot more than I had anticipated, so it's taken me a lot longer. But we made some progress, and it's looking pretty good. So let's head over to the bench. Take a look. Here she is, man. Here she is. Obviously, as you can see, there's still wires underneath of it there. It is not finished. However, I wanted to get the body mounted back up and the interior, make sure it's going to clear the wiring that I have in there and all that good stuff. So, but as you can see, it's starting to take shape. You know, this is kind of like a mock-up look. You can get the idea of what I'm going for here. The Wording Made products looking awesome on there. And we're going to get into the electronics the other day. It's all about that Holmes Hobbies goodness. So anyways, let's take a peek. All right, there she is. Body and interior removed, and now we can kind of see all the madness that's going on underneath here. So a lot has happened. Sorry, I got my studio door open, but a lot has happened basically since. Actually, I'm gonna go shut that. All right, so basically what we're looking at here is the progress since the last time you guys have seen this. I've done a lot. I basically made a auxiliary harness for my 12-volt inputs. I've made a what else did I do? I shortened a lot of wires. I made some fresh connections. Mounted some things where they're supposed to be. Basically, you kind of see in the layout here the way things are going to go. Obviously, there's still a lot of wires that are not connected. Nothing is loomed up yet, so you can still visibly see all the wires. There's a lot of things that still need to be extended, but this is the general idea here. So this massive loom here, this is actually my harness for all my 12-volt stuff. So basically all my light bars and stuff, rock lights, things like that, anything that's running 12 volts is gonna that doesn't need a signal, that's all gonna be plugged into this. And then all my 6-volt stuff will plug into the receiver. And then let's see, down here we've got our Holmes Hobbies BR Mini, the dual BR Mini, and basically that is going to power the rear winch as well as the front winch. So that BR Mini has been quite the ordeal to figure out. I didn't really know what I was doing, and turned out that the majority of it had to do with the radio I was using in the receiver. I have it set up now to where it works. I did test it. I hooked it up to a separate scenario, like a whole different ESC and BRXL and a bunch of stuff, and made kind of like a mock-up diagram. And but it actually functioned and armed everything, and used one of my mini radios I have down here and made it work. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked. It worked. So now my issue is I don't have enough channels. I mean, I have enough. I can make this work, but I want to be able to turn my lights on in steps, and with this setup I can't do that. I have 4 channels, and I have 4 things running here: 2 winches, steering servo, and a ESC. So really it takes away. Now, I've talked about a lot of this on Facebook with folks, and of course everybody's got a billion ideas they want to throw out, but I have a certain way I'm trying to do this. So basically what I'm trying to do here is I want to be able to turn, I want to be able to drive, you know, get throttle action. I want steering action, that's 2 channels. I want rear winch, that's another channel. I want front winch, that's another channel, so that's 4 channels already. Then I want to, when I first plug it in, I want my regular lights to come on. So my headlights, my fog lights, or I mean not my fog lights, but my headlights, my driving lights, my tail lights, all that stuff, interior lights, I want that to turn on as soon as I plug in the power. But I don't want my rock lights on. I don't want my underglow on. And I know you guys are like, that's the same thing. It's not, though. I have rock lights, and then I also have colored underglow that's going to be on this as well. So I want to be able to turn the rock lights and the underglow on as one switch, And then I also want to be able to turn on my upper light bars with one switch. And so that would be 6 channels total to do that. And yeah, right now as it sits, I only have 4. So we'll see what happens. I know that ATTRIBUTION is coming out with a new radio that's 6 channels. They're already taking pre-orders, so I may be able to get that and use that for this. We'll see. But as it sits now, I can use all my Holmes Hobbies products from those 4 channels, so I'm pretty stoked. Now, for all you tech heads out there wanting to know what I did here, how I wired this up, essentially what I'm doing is all these here, these are Y harnesses, right, that I modified. So I took a bunch of Y harnesses, and it literally just runs underneath this in the back up here. This will all be bolted down and sheathed, and you know, it'll look proper when it's done. But for now, this is just where I want to route my stuff. So all these cables go under here and pop back up, and they literally go to this one right here. So that is a potential issue, a potential problem in the future. For those of you that know anything about 12 volt technology or just mobile electronics in general, the amp draw, if I'm running everything at once, could be pretty massive. Basically, I'll have 4 light bars in total, 2 for rock lights, 2 for actual light bars up on top of the rig, and then I'll also be running 2 fog lights and underglow. So all of that running at once could cause a massive amp draw, which could be too much for this connector. It could eventually short this out. Could be too much for these wires as well. So where this all goes down into you know, these 3 wires, I may have to increase the gauge size of those wires, or the gauge of those wires. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think it'll be fine. I've ran a lot of auxiliary stuff before without issues, but you just never know. So for those of you watching this wanting to do something similar, just keep that in mind. That may be an issue, could be hazardous. Just throwing that out there. So a lot of power running through there. But however, this goes to it goes underneath and pops right into this here, and this is inside here is where my receiver is going to be. It's already in there right now. Well, just a mock-up receiver, and also a oh snap, what is that called? Castle Creations BEC. So that BEC is what I'm using to power my 12 volt plug here, and that's going to supply a constant 12 volts to anything that I plug in here without running it to my receiver and putting more draw on my receiver. So that's how I'm doing that. It's going to be wired in directly, right, you can kind of see here, but it's going to be wired in directly to the power. So this is power for the BR Mini, the dual BR Mini, right? This will power both BR Minis that are hooked up under there. This right here will power my Castle Creations BEC, so those will get tied in together. This right here powers the front steering servo, right? And if I do use another Holmes Hobbies SHV500 for the steering wheel servo, then I'll have 2 of those here tied in. Those are going to get tied into this as well for constant 12 volt, and then or whatever I'm pushing through here. And then what else? Those might get plugged into here too. I don't know yet. We'll see. It's just a matter of, because these are just power supplies. So these ones, the servos might just get plugged into this. I have enough. So this right here is, what was this again? Oh, this is signal for the servo. This needs to be extended and ran back to the receiver. This right here is power for the ESC. This will get tied in with all of these and make power for the, it'll all go to one Dean's plug that plugs into the battery. These bad boys right here will get a plug soldered onto them. They're 12 volt. They go to a light bar, which is right under here, a Phoenix Design LED light bar. You can see it right here. That's rock light. That will get plugged into here. I have another one up here, and that comes back through here somewhere and disappears. I don't know where it goes to, but that will also get tied into here. So there's a whole bunch. Oh, it's actually, yeah, that's actually what, I don't know where it went. Somewhere in here. Oh, there it is. This bad boy right here. This is from the front rock lights. I already soldered a plug onto that, so that can just plug right into there. Boom, just like that. And that's it. And then this is the other winch power that has to come forward and go to these guys right here. those are coming from the BR Mini. So essentially that is the complete configuration there, what I'm working on. And this is obviously signal for my ESC. This will go into the receiver as well. So my goal is to get everything tidied up, everything extended, connected, and then I'm going to heat shrink and wire loom everything up, zip tie everything up so it's all blacked out and clean, and you can't really see just the serious amount of wires that I really have tucked into this truck already. And that's it. That's really what I'm planning on doing as far as wiring goes. That should be it. Now, for what I'm going to do for now, because I don't have those other channels, everything's just going to turn on when I plug the truck in. All the lights are just going to turn on. But once I get the other radio set up, then I'll use a Pico switch or Hey OK switch or something, and then I'll be able to turn everything on that way using this last two channels. So that is it. That is everything. I still need a rear drive shaft. I've got just a weird half shaft in there right now. But I still need a rear drive shaft. The one I had wasn't long enough. Also need to swap out these rear shocks. Actually, all the shocks are getting swapped out and tuned. And then all these brackets are going to get taken off and cleaned up, shortened, and reattached properly using nice Team K&K hardware, so everything will look good. The rear winch cable is going to get extended out through the Wordy Made bumpers. And that should be it. Oh, and then I'm going to wire up the whole body. This is going to have a ton of lights in it too, and everything that's in there is going to come down to just a few different plugins, and those will plug in to either this 12 volt or leads coming out of the 6 volt that I'll have right next to it. So basically right here I'll have 12 volt and 6 volt adapters or plugs where I can just plug things in. So, and that's it. That's how I'm building this SCX10 XJ. It's going to be a monster. I'm going to be running this on 4S, so no child's play around here. This is going to be a seriously powerful rig, and because I have it geared the way I do, it's not going to be super fast. It's going to be literally identical speed to my Kaiser build. So insane power, walking speed. The torque will be through the roof, and extremely realistic, extremely heavy. I mean, just this, what you're seeing right here weighs more than most people's rigs that I encounter. So super stoked, and I haven't weighted anything yet, which is crazy. So that's it, you guys. That is it for now. Keep following my Instagram, follow my Facebook page, Extreme Scale Performance, and just stay posted, man. I've been posting a lot of pictures and just kind of going over what I'm doing as I do it. And yeah, that's how I'll keep you guys up to date. Hopefully you enjoy that. Tomorrow I've got an awesome unboxing, and the next time we come around for Holmes Hobbies Motor Control, hopefully we'll be back on schedule. It'll be on Monday. This one took a while because I had to get all this wiring done. But next week, hopefully it'll be back on Monday, and I'm gonna try to have this actually moving, like a running chassis, like a driving chassis. So after that, the only thing I'll have to do is really just detail that out, paint it, and get it all mounted up on here. So getting stoked, man, getting stoked. That being said, you guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, you know what it is, man. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace of jig grease, fam. Yeah.